edition of Love What You Do, Do What You Love. I'm here with Rhonda Brighton Hall from Mwah.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me, hun. Now,
Thank you.
People who don't know what Mwah is, which is an amazing name.
Thank you. We like it too.
What is Mwah?
So what we did was we decided that there's a whole different set of conversations about work and how we work together and a whole different way of doing it. So we built a company called Making Work Absolutely Human.
Making Work Absolutely Human. So Mwah is an acronym for that. Is that
yes,
right?
That's
exactly
awesome,
what it
man.
is. And it sounds like a kiss.
It does sound like a kiss.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
So easy to remember.
So it's human resources. Is it?
It's sort of a combination of human resources, leadership, culture, and just a whole different way of thinking about work. And what we wanted to do is to also have this space where you can have a different conversation.
So tell me how you got to where you are now. So what was your, you've obviously...
A path.
Your path to this point, because you are the CEO of this organisation.
Yes, I am.
That's pretty impressive. To me, it's impressive. Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you're the CEO
of this.
I am. Yeah, I'm the CEO of all that I see. But so that's impressive. But how did you get to running this business and owning it?
So in a nutshell, what happened was I started my career. I was always going to be an accountant because I really like business, but I really like people. And so when I became an accountant, I actually was becoming an accountant, and then I thought, actually, I'd much rather be with people. So I ended up getting a traineeship in BHP, in the steelworks in Port Kembla, as a HR person. And then that led to a really incredibly amazing career that just kept going. And I don't think I ever planned it. I just kept working really hard, and next opportunities just kept rolling. And
so you were in BHP, and then from there...
BHP, I went to BTR Narlex, which is another big construction company.
And your role?
In HR. And so at about 28, I was a human resource director for one of their divisions.
So you studied HR when you left school?
Studied HR, studied postgraduate HR, just kept going.
What attracted you to human resources? What?
People.
Fantastic. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it.
And coming from a normal background and a normal family is... we often talk about work as like something awful, but the reality is work is really important. So if you do work you love, which is obviously what you talk about, but it's also just the act of going to work. Yeah. So I do stacks of work my whole life I have with people with disability that can't get into work. Fantastic. And if you can't leave the house and go somewhere and work and contribute and have teammates and colleagues, it's bloody awful.
It is bloody awful, because I've got this thing, health equals wealth. So if you have the ability... And we're all pretty lucky, have the ability to get out of bed, take a breath, then the rest is up to you. And then you have choices. But for those poor people that don't have that ability, you don't have those choices, do you?
No.
It's
if you
hard.
can't join a job or join the economy or join society and contribute, then you just feel like you're not worth it.
And it's and it is, and mentally it's and your mental health suffers, because then it's a downward spiral. And so
mental and physical go together.
They do. So in what you've done over the years, you've developed programs.
So what I did was I started working in HR, and then my career took me to... I came down to Melbourne. I married a Melbourne guy, and then I was looking at a job in London, job in Singapore. Which one should I take? And they offered me a job in Wagga, and that's the one we took. Yeah. So that was a big choice.
Yeah, man.
I didn't even marry
London, Wagga. Okay, that's it.
When Michael said, he said, "Is it Singapore or London?" I said, "It's Wagga," and he said, "Wagga, okay."
Oh, Wagga.
So off we went to Wagga for 3 years, but it turned out really well, because he was a Melbourne guy, I was a Sydney person, and we met in the middle for the first 3 years of our married life. So that was actually
It was really
good.
Yeah,
we could visit, but we weren't surrounded.
Yeah, you had enough distance. You didn't have to do. That's
formed
cool.
our own little family.
That's cool.
Then we went back to Sydney, had 3 kids. And then I got offered a job in the Netherlands. So we headed off to Holland for 3 years.
Wow.
And then from that got promoted into Chicago. So went to Chicago.
All in HR. So you were a director in HR?
I was HR director, but I was also... I'd started to specialise in really talking about the employee experience, about how we work together, about leadership and culture. That became my passion, and I just pursued it. So...
Did you do any extra study? Did you undertake this... personal, like you did personal stuff, like read books and so on, or did you actually do courses to supplement your knowledge, or did you just undertake it on your own volition?
Both. So I read everything. People send me articles and books and I read them all. And if there's a new idea or a new way of thinking, I'm really, really excited and I want to find out about it. So I've had this passion to learn and grow. I also kept thinking the way that we're doing it isn't really working.
Yeah.
And so there must be a better way. So I love anyone who's challenging the way we're doing it. Could we do it differently or better?
Yeah.
I want to know about it. So I did that, but I also kept studying. So I did undergrad, postgrad. Then I did procurement and purchasing and supply logistics, which was very interesting because I moved out of HR to see if I could run a business, and it went well.
Yes, yes.
So I did that. Then I came back, and then I went to London Business School and studied HR strategy, and then I just kept on studying, and now I teach it to the universities as well.
Oh, fantastic! So, Netherlands, then
Chicago.
How many years in Chicago?
3.
Developing, growing.
Head of organisation development for Sara Lee, which is 155,000 people.
Do you think you travelling and seeing what's going on out there has helped you dramatically in what you're doing now?
Yes.
And do you think if you ever didn't leave, do you think you would know as much as you know now, or the benefits? Because
it's a really good question. I think that the benefit of travel is twofold. One is you get to meet people and see places and ideas that you didn't get to see at home.
Yeah.
And the second thing is you get to understand yourself.
Yeah.
So when you're in someone else's environment, what feels comfortable, what doesn't feel comfortable, suddenly you realise that there's a part of you that you hadn't really been conscious that you thought that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when I was in Chicago, and I love Chicago, it's a great city, it's still a great city, but what I found is that business in America is really hierarchical.
Okay.
And for an Australian from a country town, it was really uncomfortable. So I suddenly realised, wow, I really hate hierarchical, born to rule sort of people.
Sure. My way or no way, and that I am here, you are there, you must do as you're told.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I probably knew that, but I didn't really feel that until I was surrounded by people who thought that was reasonable.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this feels really bad.
Really bad behaviour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really bad way to be.
Yeah. And
because a really great idea might come from someone who's not the boss, or it might come from someone who's not in charge, or the challenger is everywhere.
Sure. And so basically they feel, that everyone's threatened. Everyone's trying to hold on to their little piece of what they're doing and so on.
A lot of power.
There's a lot of power there. Yeah. and that doesn't make for good leadership either.
No.
Because, like you said, ideas may come from sources that aren't here.
Yeah.
They may be good ideas, but they'll be squashed because the person at the top, it wasn't his idea. So, no, we're going to do it my way.
Well, I think it also, what it got to me, because I'd gone from the Netherlands, which is quite like Australia, so very egalitarian, and we have tall poppy syndrome. They have tall trees catch the breeze, which is the same idea.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of going, there's something in the way that we look at leadership and the way that we were talking about leadership and training people to be leadership was just fundamentally wrong. And part of that is we kept talking, and we still do, about leaders. How do they act? How do they communicate? How do they look? All this sort of stuff. Whereas the reality, the only thing that matters about a leader is how they impact all the other people around them. So a really great leader creates an environment and a culture and a space where other people can come in and contribute really well and thrive and have fun and enjoy it and feel appreciated. All the normal things that we like in normal relationships.
And the benefits of that, and this is what people don't understand, is the attrition rate. You keep good people if you look after them and nurture them. And it's like anything, isn't it? The more you invest, the more it's like the more you get on that return. If you treat them badly, they're going to walk, and you're not going to get the best person, are you?
No. And even if you can keep them, unless they're confident and feel like, wow, people really appreciate what I did yesterday, I'm going to do something more exciting today.
Correct.
Whereas if someone feels really scared, like I'm only here tentatively and I'm not sure I'm safe and I'm not sure I'm appreciated, they'll give you about 50% of what they could.
Yes. And brings me to now with Mwah. How long's the company been going?
Well, we just had our first birthday a little while ago, but we took a year to build it. So it always feels like 2 years old, but we're actually technically just over a year old.
Only a year old?
Yeah. And so about 80% of small businesses don't make it to a year, so we felt really good.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And where did you get the spark to go, hey, I'm going to start my own?
I was in corporate. I was doing really well. I had a really big job and I was loving it. But I just wanted to go and see what entrepreneurs were doing, and I wanted to see whether there was a different way of doing it or a different idea, a different passion for work. And so what I did was I actually stepped away from it and said, I'm going to have a year of hanging with entrepreneurs, seeing what that looks like. And after a year, I'll learn all this stuff and I'll take it back.
Yes.
But what happened in that year is I sat with a couple of my mentors and I had this conversation that's just like such an epiphany. He said to me, see this water jug, and it was a big steel water jug, and sitting between us on this desk that we were talking, and he said, that's corporate. Why do you want to go back in there? And I said, what do you mean that's corporate? And he said, corporate is like a big steel jug. You can take a person off the street and you throw them into the jug and they splash about, some water comes in, make waves. You take them back out in 4 years' time and the jug has not changed at all. He said, why would you want to go back into a jug? Even a glass jug, it's still a jug. And I thought, wow, it's so challenging. And the other thing that challenged me was what I wanted to do. Like when people look back at your career and say, what did you achieve? What did you do? And I wanted to change the conversation. And you can't change the conversation.
Legacy. What legacy do you want to leave? That's it.
You don't want to be sitting in under someone else's brand with someone else's PR machine. You actually want to have a voice where you can encourage different people to talk. And I think the way to change the way we think about work is to have a very different conversation about work with different people who don't normally talk about it.
Good.
So that's what we built.
And so now your business is growing, and
it's growing really rapidly.
That's fantastic. And now
I know,
you've got some government.
I always laugh because I'm like, oh my god.
It's funny how that happens, huh?
I know. You just keep going. Just keep doing good work. Everyone
just keep doing good work. And obviously you're doing something really, really right with Mwah. Now, do you job place? Do you work with organisations, with people?
Well, we do a couple of things. This is hard to describe. So the first thing we do is we have a community. So this is people that can join us and say, this is a way of working and a way of looking at work and leadership that's very different.
Yep.
Let's all talk about it and make that better. So that's our community. Then we have like a giant toolkit, which we use for small businesses and entrepreneurs, and right up, it's actually gone into some big businesses now. But it's like a way of working. So it goes from managing change to recruiting to rewarding to developing people, everything. But it's really, really simple. So it's built on human-centric design, which means we've got all the processes down to really, really, really simple things. And in big corporates, they're very cumbersome and slow and quite torturous. We've made them really, really simple. And people go, actually, that was easy enough and it works, so that will be good.
Yes.
So that's our toolkit. And then we've got a big thinking piece. So we work with universities to sponsor research about what really is it that makes people happy at work, as opposed to what we think makes people happy at work. And then the fourth piece of it is we partner with other companies. So if you've got a company that's built to get people who are currently excluded from work or not included as much as they should be in work, and you've got some ideas about how to include them, then we give profit share into those companies and work with them to measure what that looks like. Yeah, it's really good.
That's fantastic. Great business
model. So that's
model.
our company.
Great business
model. And then
model.
we've ended up working with governments and parts in every state and really big companies who are going, actually, even though your idea was built for small to medium businesses, it actually works for big ones, and it's much simpler than what we're doing.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this venture. I can't wait to see where it all goes.
Thank you.
So for people that want to know more information about Mwah, you've got a website.
We do. We've got an old website we're just about to put our new one up in a couple of weeks. But our current one is www.mwah.live.
Mwah.live, yeah.
And our new one will be www.mwah.live as well.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your stay down here, because down here in Melbourne, the sun's shining for you, which is great.
Thank you. 29 degrees. Can't possibly complain.
Great. Thanks, Rhonda.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.